So last season, there was a young girl on this show who I never forgot. Her story about surviving sex trafficking as a teenager and the lessons I really feel that we all can learn. They've haunted me since this day by the numbers. And I know this is difficult. That's why you often see me take that breath, because I need it. And I know you need it, because this is a tough conversation. More than half of sex trafficking survivors are minors. I'm talking about boys and girls. 6% are boys, something people don't often talk about. These are kids that live next door to you, kids that may even be in your home right now that you believe are safe. But unbeknownst to you, someone online perhaps is preying on them already. I went on Google last night and I looked up sex trafficking convictions. You know, I did a crime show. I'm a reporter and I'm always on Google. And across the country, name the city, name the town, it was there. And that's why we're digging into this conversation today. My first guest is the young woman that I just mentioned to you, the teenager whose story I did not forget and who I think all parents can learn something from. Her name is Dasia, and she is back with us live today. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing okay that I see your face. You know, Dasia, after I interviewed you last year, and I don't like the feeling of doing an interview and people ask me, well, why didn't you ask this? Or I wanted to know more. You were at the end of the show. I had no idea of the powerful testimony that you were about to give to my audience. And I've thought a lot about what I missed asking you and about the people that approached me. I'm telling you, Black, white, Latino, Asian, Southern, wherever I've gone, someone has asked me about you. I want to start with your story for those who didn't see that episode. You were a teenager, you know, mom and dad, going to church, just being a kid, and you went online to find someone you thought you could date.
Right. I was one of those young girls that wasn't meeting in person. Like I said, I was bullied a lot, so I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. So I did go online when I was 17, met my trafficker, and he told me everything I wanted to hear from. I can take you traveling, you can make so much money, you can look like a model, be a model. And I went for it.
But this,
Everything,
for you, Dasia, this
good.
started, like you said, you were 17. You were dealing with some self-esteem issues, as a lot of teenage girls and boys deal with, a lot of bullying. And you thought, okay, this is someone who's telling me that I'm pretty. How did you meet that person online? Was it just a matter of going on a site?
Yes, I went on an online dating site. It's so many of them out there. I just happened to run into one that was kind of popping. You know, you when you're young, you're trying to find the sites or social media that really have like pop in and have the great ratings and things like that. And that's what I did. I went on one of those good dating sites with good ratings, and
And there you were. When I interviewed you, what I didn't clearly get was how he lured you in so quickly. What were the things that he said to build your confidence, but at the same time, build your trust in him?
basically, he was telling me that I was beautiful. I could be doing so much more with my life than what I am. He knew I was young. He told me that I could continue to go to school, which was a lie. When they sell you that dream, it's like, well, I could maybe get out of a small country town and do some better things with my life. And I thought that I was going to do some better things with my life.
When did you realize what he was telling you? Well, you know what? That's too far into the story, because I think he starts to build your confidence. What we now call that is grooming. So he starts to groom you. How did he convince you to leave your home?
uh, Talking about my family, basically saying my family was poor when they know where you come from. I came from a pretty poor, not a poor family, but we wasn't wealthy. So he knew that I came from struggle. I came from a family where we were molested, where we were molested in church as well. So he knew exactly where to hit me to get me.
Thank you, Paula, for joining. I know that this is so difficult for a mother to think about, to discuss. I thought a lot about Dasia's story, particularly with this R. Kelly thing that's gone on, because so many people said, well, where were the parents with the Jeffrey Epstein survivors? Some of them we're going to talk to very soon during this hour. Where was the parent? What is your reaction, Paula, when people say that?
Thanks for having me first and
Of
foremost,
course.
Tamron. I think my initial reaction when I hear that from, from anybody, where were the parents? I get a little irritable
Mm.
because I think the preconceived notion is that we're nowhere around, or that, we don't care, or, something like that. When the reality is, we're here and we are either sideswiped or blindsided or just left in the dark about the whole situation and trying to get the answer ourselves. So to answer that question, a lot of times the parents are here and we're doing what we can, or trying to find out what we can, learn about whatever the situation is.
Dasia, you, as I said, were hostage. You've now been away from that environment for 3 years now. What is life like now for you? I know you want to help other young women. What are you doing?
Life is amazing. Like, I feel so free being able to contact my family, see my family, and my best friend Courtney from my hometown. She supports me a lot, and she's been helping me with my organization that I came up with called the Entity Haven. And I call it the Entity Haven because I feel like every organization should be a safe place for us, for any victim, whether it's human trafficking, domestic violence. But we mainly target victims of human trafficking and domestic violence.
Paula, I know you're proud of her. I'm proud of her, so I can't imagine as a mother what you must feel seeing what she survived. One of the things that's so important to me, after having researched this and done so much work with my team on this, please leave the stereotypes behind. These aren't children who've been left behind, whose parents don't care. These aren't Black girls only. These aren't poor girls. These are wealthy, suburban, city. These are young women and boys from all walks of life. And Paula, that's the thing. I look at Dasia, she's brown like me, but please understand, this is not the face of trafficking victims. There's no one face. There's no one face here. What is your advice, Paula? I'll give you the last word. What would you tell other parents out there?
If you're going through something and your child is not at home, don't you give up, period. They are still expecting you to show up, whether they are able to call or not. Dasia couldn't reach out to me, but I still heard her crying.
You heard her cry, yes.
It's my job as a mother. Go and get my child regardless. If that meant me sitting in the bushes, Tamron, if that meant me sitting outside, scoping out a place that I'd never been. I've been places I've never been, and I would do it all over again for my baby. Any of them.
Your baby is wonderful, and like I said, I'm just honored that she came back on. And you got her crying, you got me crying. Listen, that is a mother's love.